Hi guys, Every Knife Guy here, and it's been a little while, so I thought we'd have a ramble for a Friday night. Got a few things to talk about. Got some Jim Beam and Coke there, although that's running a little bit low. I might have to top that up. And yeah, a couple of different things. We're going to come to this a bit later in the video. Talk about this kitchen knife that I got recently, and also just a bit of general discussion on kitchen knife philosophy. We're going to get to that. First, we're going to go to a bit of a screencast and go through a few YouTube channels that I found recently, and maybe some Instagram stuff, and just do a roundup of cool stuff that I've seen recently on the web, and let you guys know about some channels I've found to follow. And if you're looking for some new content to watch, maybe there'll be something of interest for you. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into that first. Okay, so I've only used this screencast recorder once before when I did that video on new 2016 ZT and Kershaw knives, and that seemed to work pretty well. I didn't get any negative feedback on that. Everyone seemed to be able to understand what I was saying, and the volume was okay, and they could actually follow what was going on the screen. The frame rate seemed alright, so we're going to try that again. And this time I'm going to go to YouTube, of course, and I'm just going to show you 3 channels here that have kind of caught my eye recently and that I've become a little bit obsessed with, and whenever I have time, which is rare, these are ones that I check out first to see what they've got up, and try and catch up on some of their older content too. And I'd like to do more videos like this in future, and there's a lot of stuff I see on Instagram and YouTube that is pretty interesting to me, and I think might interest you guys as well. And I'd like to be able to share that in a way that you can actually see stuff. Obviously screencast is perfect, and you can actually see what sort of content I'm talking about, rather than just having to listen to me describe it, and then you can see if it's something that you might want to check out yourself or not so much. So might be a few videos like this coming if this works well. So without further ado, and you're just staring at a screen here, let's get into the first one, which is Keith, Kevin, Ken. And doing it this way, of course, you can see their screen name right on the screen there, and you know, if you're watching this on your tablet or wherever, you can already be searching it on your cell phone or something like that if you're that technologically inclined, and hit the subscribe button before I've even done, you know, my rather lengthy and long-winded introduction. So when you actually go to Kevin's channel, his name is Kevin, his screen name Keith, Kevin, Ken, it actually says the channel has no content. So what you want to do is click on the videos tab there at the top, and that brings up all his content. I'm not sure why it's not showing on the home page. That's maybe a setting he needs to look into. But he has been on Instagram for quite a while, I think. There's a lot of followers on there. You may well follow him already. His Instagram name is also Keith Kevin Ken, and he's got a fantastic Instagram channel, and he does a daily pocket dump video, and he has an absolutely massive collection of knives and a lot of very cool high-end watches and gear. He's a bit of a cigar nut as well, and he posts these sort of pocket dumps every day, as you can see here, and some really great variation in knives, not just you know, the typical kind of high-end big collection, big budget knives, but also a lot of smaller, more affordable stuff. And he just has a real passion for knives, which I think comes through in every video. And as he says it, he just wants to fondle the knives and share kind of his collection with people and get some discussion going. And he's only just started recently on YouTube and has been very consistent about posting up these pocket dumps, as well as collection videos. So if we scroll down here, you'll see ones like this, the complete Spyderco Sage series. And he's a huge Spyderco fan, Browse Blades, Chris Reeve knives, Microtex, and a lot of kind of other brands mixed in. So particularly if you're into Spyderco or Chris Reeve, I would say he's got a lot of videos on here already that you will find very interesting. Let's go down here a little bit. Spyderco Flippers, his complete collection of that, and he is, by his own confession, a bit of a nut for creating whole collections. So you will see he has huge collections of certain things, like this Browse Blades Silent Soldier collection. Go watch that one and see how many knives come on the table. You wouldn't believe it. So definitely a channel to recommend. Go have a look. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Look at that small Sabenza collection. If you're into Chris Reeve, that's just porn for you. So that's the first one. Let's move on. The next one is Miklos Spinter. I hope I'm spelling this right and actually finds it. I also hope there's no embarrassing predictive results come up on my keyboard there. Let's see if this will work. Search instead. Why is that not coming up? Oh, I've got, hold on, too many S's in there, I think. I tried to do this by creating a playlist of videos, but then I found I couldn't actually, I've got to record this in landscape mode, obviously, rather than portrait, If I'm in landscape, when I minimize the video to try and get to that person's channel, it won't give me a link to the channel. So there was no obvious way for me to get from, you know, showing you somebody's video content to actually showing you their channel. I don't really want to go in and actually show you people's videos. I think it's one thing to give someone a shout out. I don't particularly want to go start playing their content without them kind of approving that or whatever. And I didn't really want to bother going through that. I just wanted to show you, you know, some cool stuff. So Miklos is a very cool channel, and he is primarily doing videos on Victorinox and Wenger. A lot of very interesting videos. The classic Cadet versus Pioneer subject, of course. There are some other brands as well, some Kershaw stuff, EDC pocket dumps, that sort of thing. But he has great knowledge of Swiss Army knives, and has been very helpful to me. I've had a lot of questions and stuff that he has answered, and he's given me a lot of cool input, and also actually sent me links to knives for sale that I might be interested in. So he's you know, somebody that sent me a lot of cool stuff, and I really appreciate that. And his channel's just kind of starting off, but he's got some cool videos already. So if you're in Swiss Army knives, for sure do go and check that out. As you can see, he's posting every couple of weeks or so, so definitely subscribe and see what's coming up. The last one we're going to look at is Paul Manning. I should have actually, hold on, so we can go back there. I'll just give you another look back from here. Just give you another look at the screen name. So it's Miklos Pinter. Miklos Pinter. Sorry if I'm absolutely butchering your name. I think I pronounced it Miklos, so apologies if not. And then we're going to go and look at Paul Manning. That's the last one. Oops. Paul Manning, 54 videos. And obviously a Walking Dead fan, so I appreciate that as well. Paul Manning has, where these are liked videos, let's go into his videos tab. He's an absolute Spyderco nut, and he does a lot of longer videos, which I really appreciate and enjoy. And if you're a bit obsessive about knives, you probably will too. Some of his most recent ones you can see here, he got the new Spyderco Mantra and Mantra 2, and was doing a comparison on those along with the Manix. He does longer Spyderco videos. He has a great amount of knowledge about those knives, and it's just really interesting to listen to. And he'll talk at length about all sorts of stuff. There's a few shorter videos, like you can see there. There's his collection of Spyderco boxes. Let's find some of the longer ones down here. I don't know if these are in order, are they? Spyderco Positron short video in there, and some Benchmade stuff as well, and some other things. Spyderco Paramilitary 2 versus Max 2 versus Max 2 XL. There's almost 40 minutes of Spyderco there if you want to go and watch that. And very interesting video on the Dodo. I watched that one. I'm trying to catch up on some of these, but time is limited, as probably yours is. Spyderco Rubicon video, and you can see here some of these longer ones on, if you're into Spydercos, they're yet again knife porn really. You can just go and sit and watch these for half an hour. And also that looks like quite an interesting one that I'm going to go and watch, which is the USA produced Spydercos versus Japanese versus Italian versus Taiwanese versus Chinese. So pretty interesting topics and general knife discussion, as well as actual kind of knife porn of his very extensive Spyderco collection. And there's some very interesting ones on sprint runs and stuff like that. So yeah, those are the three channels. So we had Keith Kevin Ken, Miklos Pinter, and Paul Manning. I'll scroll back up and let you see Paul's screen name again. It is just as it sounds, Paul Manning. So those are the three guys. Hopefully enjoy those. And as I say, if you do like this kind of stuff, I will certainly do this again for Instagram content rather, and maybe feature a few kind of producers of EDC gear and knives that you may not be aware of, and just kind of broaden your horizons maybe if it's not the sort of stuff you normally look for, and share a bit of knowledge that way. So yeah, that's it for now. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about tonight were kitchen knives, and what kind of prompted this discussion was my wife bought me a very nice random present. No special occasion. She just turned up with this the other day for me. She knows that I'm a bit of a knife nut, and knows that all the knives, apart from this one in our kitchen, are blunt. Ironically enough, for someone who's into knives, I've never really taken that much interest in kitchen knives, and we'll get on to why that is in just a second. But she knows I'm a big fan of Victorinox as a brand, and she came back from the male post office rather, with this guy the other day. This is, as you can see, a Victorinox chef's knife. It's already a little bit marked up, scratched up. It's a high carbon steel knife. You can see there, if I can get this to focus, it's having trouble with the polish on this. You can see there, Victorinox Swiss made logo, National Sanitary Foundation, I think so, NSF logo on it as well there, and of course Victorinox logo at the front. It has this kind of polymer handle, I guess you would say, Victorinox. And Victorinox makes a lot of quite high-end chef's knives. This is one of their more budget offerings. You can pick these up for between $20–30. This is what they call, I think, 5-inch chef's knife or cook's knife. And high carbon steel, as I said. The handle is a variation on their Fibrox, which I think is their high-end handle material on their high-end chef's knives. This is, I think they call it Fibrox A, which is more of a budget version. But it's quite a nice grippy texture, not dissimilar to G10. If you're more into those sort of knives. You can see 5-inch knife, pretty much a 50-50 split between blade and handle. Very nice 4-finger ergonomic grip, lovely swell in the belly of the handle there, or into your palm, I guess. Nice thickness on it. Handle's very, very comfortable. Thumb just kind of naturally rests on the top there. You got a slight up swoop in the handle. You can see when you're in that hole there, if we use my fingers as a chopping board here, you can see you got a lovely kind of control over that blade. Very slight up sweep in the belly at the front here, otherwise it's pretty much a straight edge. You have a little drop down here at the ricasso, and that kind of gives you room for your fingers, of course, if that's your chopping surface. You got room there for your fingers without mashing your knuckles into the board all the time, which seems to be what I do a lot with budget knives, but maybe that's just me. And I should preface this by saying I'm very much into food. Like, I love food and I love to cook. I've just never really taken much interest in kitchen cutlery. I don't know why that is. Kitchen knives don't really do it for me as a general rule, but I do enjoy using this. It came extremely sharp, as you can imagine, and it's still pretty sharp despite having quite a bit of use already. And yeah, very, very impressed with this. Picked these up between $20–30, I think, on Amazon.com. I'll put a link in the description if I remember to do so. And yeah, very nice knife, and usual kind of Victorinox quality as you'd expect. Being one of their more budget kitchen knives, it just comes in this, which is just a simple, plasticky kind of slip sheath. Very, very basic, but it, if you're throwing this into your kitchen drawer, it's enough to keep the edge protected. And they say that their steel is extremely corrosion and rust resistant. And given the way that I tend to look after stuff in the kitchen, we will soon put that to the test, I imagine. Yeah, so the sort of question that came to mind was, how do you approach working in the kitchen? Now, if I am setting about making a serious meal, like preparing a 2 or 3 course meal or something like that, I will tend to, sort myself out first of all. I'll find a knife, boards, pots, pans, bowls, dishes, grater, all the stuff you need before you kind of get going. And that's just kind of how I approach things. If I am just, on the fly making something in the kitchen, I will tend to use what's in my pocket. Now, that could be a number of things. I'm just going to reach around here. We're in I'm in kind of my office, come workshop, come den, whatever, man room, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to reach around here. There's usually a few knives lying around here, and here's what we have tonight. We have a compact, my original beat up 82 Victorinox Soldier, put the Victorinox there all together. Browse Blades Bionic, excellent little slicer for kitchen work, as it happens. Macusta Tactility. And actually, I'm going to move these two down here because as it happens, the other knife I had here, when I opened it before I started this video, it actually turns out to be pretty much identical in size to that chef's knife. Well, a little smaller, I guess, but you get the idea. It's pretty similar in dimensions, and that is Zero Tolerance 0452. So yeah, do you tend to just pull out whatever's in your pocket and use that? And I think part of that comes from the, justifying the hobby. And a lot of the time, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well, you're looking for ways to use your knives and to justify why you might need another knife, or why you need to own so many knives, or why you spend so much on them, why you enjoy them. it's not just to look at. I have no safe queens, and that's maybe because none of my knives are over, say, $250, whatever. But that's just kind of not really my thing. I want a knife, even more expensive ones like this, that I can use, and I tend to, take pleasure in saying, I'm going to the kitchen to chop up an apple or whatever. I will use literally whatever I have on me, and that's just part of it. And part of the fun in that is finding out which knives work better for these tasks. Certain things aren't going to work so well as others. This is a wicked little slicer. Super nice grind on that, very thin behind the edge. But at the same time, it's hard to beat a simple Victorinox for a small, simple blade, and that's what people keep coming back to. Modern folders. This one's reasonably good slicing, but modern folders for the most part are a little bit chunkier built, heavier blade stock, and they're not really designed for fine cutting and slicing. And traditional slip joints and things like Swiss Army knives are where it's at. You get that thin blade stock. Let's just compare this one with this one. We'll look top down first, so we can get these to focus for you. So as you can imagine, the chef's knife is significantly thinner. Let's see if we can get a little look at the edges and see the thickness of the steel behind there. A little hard to do this, guys. I'm going to try and get that straight on for you. You can probably see there the chef's knife is of course paper thin. The 452, not so much. Let's see if we can get them perfectly perpendicular for you. About there. So you can see the difference there. And of course, this thing slices like a dream. It came razor sharp, full flat grind, really, really thin profile. And it'll go through an onion like it's not even there. This thing, yeah, it slices okay, not so much. This slices really well, but it doesn't have the benefit of the extra length in the blade on the cutting edge. Same thing with these. I love having a Victorinox, and if you follow my channel and my EDC dumps and all the rest of it, you'll know, guys, that I tend to have like what I would call a full-size Victorinox in my pocket at all times, usually like a Pioneer, Cadet, Soldier, something like that, sometimes a compact. So I usually have a blade of that kind of size in my pocket, but if you look at the effective edge, something like this versus this, your usable size there, if you're chopping something larger, cutting up large potatoes or something like that, you're going to have a bit of work cut out with this. Tonight, same thing, eating as well as preparing food. Tonight we were having steaks, and what did I have in my pocket earlier? I had this actually. I had this in my pocket, and of course this blade has seen better days by any standard, but it is sharp. I have sharpened it up, and it works really well, and it's a nice, smooth, slim, fairly slim little knife. Nothing wrong with using that to eat your supper, I don't think, and I enjoy doing that. It's just part of, as I say, justifying the hobby and finding uses for knives. And if you don't use them for food prep, well, what else is there? I always find a bit of embarrassment in videos, or not embarrassment, I guess, but just, it just kind of brings it home, like what this hobby and this whole obsession, this knife thing is all about. And, part in reviews or overviews or whatever, where you say, oh, it's really good for it's really good for food prep and opening letters and this and that. And I'm like, well, what else is there really? In terms of tasks that are common tasks you'll repeat every day, there really isn't a whole lot else. Not for me anyway. I don't know about what your day-to-day life involves, but in terms of what I do, food prep, basic work tasks, cutting zip ties, small piece of rope, doing paracord stuff for videos, cutting up stuff. I got two small kids, as some of you guys know, and I do a lot of stuff in the kitchen, preparing stuff. And of course, being kids, you tend to dice things up smaller, and all meals have to be chopped up and ready to eat, kind of thing. So I definitely, use whatever I have in my pocket to prepare those meals, and whether it's a zero tolerance to prepare a toddler's meal or a Victorinox, doesn't really matter. I just pull it out and use it. And I think as much as I enjoy this knife, and if I'm preparing a special meal for a dinner party or something, I will most certainly make the effort to use this, and it will give me that much more control. It'll be that much quicker to prepare things because it's a better slicer. But unless I'm doing something like that, I will still tend to prefer to use something that I more enjoy as my collection, and test out different knives in my collection and use whatever's in my pocket. I just get that kind of, I think it's a man thing, isn't it? It's like a capability, an independence thing. You know, it's not just you know, I carry around an overpriced piece of carbon fiber and steel that's more capable than I'll ever need it to be. It's I carry around a tool in my pocket that's useful to do this and that and the next thing. So that's kind of what my thoughts are on it. It's not to say that I don't enjoy kitchen knives. I don't see this particularly kickstarting another aspect to the hobby. I have enough going on with my love of modern folder blades, Swiss Army knives, as you know, and I'd really love to get into what we call American traditionals or traditional knives. Whether I have the budget to do that and the time to invest in researching and buying those kind of knives, I'm not sure, but you know, that's more the sort of direction I'd like to go rather than kitchen cutlery. Do I notice a difference in this compared to other knives in the kitchen? Well, yes, pretty much immediately. Other knives in our kitchen are usually just the sort of bog standard Walmart knife block deal. You pay $30 and you get half a dozen knives plus one of those sharpening steel kind of things, and they're okay, but they're not amazing slicers. They don't really hold an edge very well, but you know, like anything else, you pay for what you get. You pay the same kind of money for one of these that's, you know, a one knife as opposed to buying 6 for that money. You do expect to get something a little bit better. Same way you'd expect to get something a little bit better with this than, you know, a Walmart Ozark trail or whatever. And there's no, you know, budget knives are what they are. They, you know, often you'll get an absolute dream of a knife and it will perform very, very well in terms of its price. But it's also a quality thing and, you know, pride of ownership and pride of use sort of thing as well, isn't it? So just kind of wanted to go over that quickly with you guys and maybe get your thoughts in the comments on how you work in the kitchen. Do you particularly invest in specialized knives for your kitchen work, or do you just you know, get on and use whatever you have on you, or do you just go with the budget knife that you picked up at the grocery store or whatever like that? So I think that'll do for tonight, guys. I've got a couple other topics, but we'll probably save that for another one. And yeah, hope you're having a great weekend, and I will be back with more videos soon. Cheers.